Hello, hello everyone. Assalamu alaikum and a very good evening to you all. I am Fariha Islamu, currently working as a lecturer at Bangladesh University of Engineering and Technology, and I'm also the event and outreach director of the International Water Association Young Water Professionals Bangladesh chapter, and I will be your moderator for today's session. We are delighted to see your enthusiastic response to today's webinar, and we have more than 150 registered participants. We are also live streaming on Facebook and LinkedIn, where many more are joining us today. Thank you all for taking the time to be part of today's webinar. Before we begin, let me briefly introduce our platform. The IWA Young Water Professionals Bangladesh chapter is a network under the International Water Association aimed at connecting early career professionals, researchers, and students working in water-related fields. Our goal is to foster collaboration, knowledge exchange, and professional development, particularly focusing on addressing water challenges in Bangladesh and beyond. Today's webinar is titled Impacts of Climate Change on Water Resources, Global to Local Context. We are truly honored to have with us an eminent speaker of Bangladesh, Dr. AKM Saiful Islam sir, who is a professor at the Institute of Water and Flood Management, BUET. Sir also served as a lead author in IPCC 6th Assessment Report, and currently he is contributing to the 7th Assessment Report as well. Dr. Saiful Islam sir has made outstanding contributions to climate change modeling, flood risk management, and remote sensing with over 240 research publications and 33,000 plus citations, along with 200 plus international talks. It is a great privilege for us to learn from him and his experience and insights today. So before we proceed to our main technical session, I would now like to invite Sabrina Rashid Shionti, Chair of International Water Association Young Water Professionals Bangladesh chapter, to share a few words and take us through the journey of establishing this chapter. Over to you, Shionti Apu.
Hello, everyone. A very warm evening to you all, and thank you so much, Mo, for that kind introduction. I'm Sabrina Rashid Shanti, currently working as the chair of IWA-YWP Bangladesh chapter. And thank you. It's my privilege to share a few words with you about IWA and our chapter. So, without any further ado, I think I can quickly share my screen and can show you some information and events about IWA. So here we are. IWA, as Mo mentioned, is one of the leading organization of the world where different water professionals from different backgrounds, different countries come together and promote the future of the world water and they shape the future of the world water with their innovation, their projects, and their contributions in this water world. And we believe that with such a strong community, we can make difference for sure in this world that is requiring our sustainable future in the water field. So our target is to empower the next generation of water leaders. And how can we do it? So IWA has an idea to have and promote the young water professionals through the Young Water Professionals chapter under the central organization IWA. And here we are with different countries. We have the YWP chapters where IWA empower the next generation water leaders to come forward to take the leadership of this water arena. And we want to connect these water professionals within the IWA's global network of 140 plus countries. And talking about IWA, we have kind of 75 years plus of legacy. IWA was formally founded in 1999, but there was a previous organization named IWSA that was founded in 1947, and it connects the water professionals and companies to solve world's greatest water challenges. And we have a headquarter in London and offices in different parts of the world. And the main mission of IWA is to function as an international network for water experts, promote the standards, the optimal approaches in the sustainable water management, and work towards a water wise world. And in order to achieve our missions, we do connect scientists, different water professionals, industry professionals, and the communities to drive pioneering research, innovation, and support technical and other international frameworks and places water in the global political agenda. And we have our uh, chapters in 140 plus countries, and 50 plus of those countries have the young water professionals chapter, and we are one of the newly formed chapter, and we are very proud to form this chapter with different water young water professionals in Bangladesh. So, talking about some of the flagship events that IWA organizes. So, one of the flagship event that IWA organizes every 2 years is World Water Congress. It's a leading global event that covers a full water cycle, touching different arenas of water, starting from water startups, industry, academia, and also promotes the NGO and other communities' work. So last 2024, it was organized in Toronto, and this year in 2026, it's being organized in Glasgow, targeting around like 10,000 plus participants from the water field. And there is also another flagship program that's called Water and Development Congress. That's also biennial event focused on the water and sanitation challenges, specifically in the low and middle income countries. Last year in 2025, it was organized in Thailand. Apart from that, we also have several other programs like Digital Water Summit, IWA, YWP conferences, and all. And apart from these global IWA flagship events, under the IWA YWP country chapters, we also have active country chapters that organizes different events for early career professionals aged from 18 to 35 that foster leadership, networking, and the professional development through conferences, workshops, and mentoring. So I can probably show you one of the videos of one of the flagship events that I just mentioned in IWA World Water Congress in Toronto 2024.
What's really interesting this year is that we have grown our engagement in Latin America and in Africa as well as in South Asia. And so you'll be seeing a much stronger representation of some of the issues that are really of importance in those regions. We really need to get that cross-cultural connection going and also that cross-scientific connection.
Absolutely mesmerizing congress. And I think Toronto is a great place that offers diversity of people coming from different backgrounds. And I think that's exactly what we need in water leadership as well. And I think this conference exactly, gives a platform for people to come in together and gives them opportunity for networking and helping them to collaborate with each other to secure that water future for us. So absolutely looking forward to get the most out of it for the Congress.
been coming to these congresses since 1985, and I've kind of grown up with the IWA. It's been my door to the global water world. And it's so special to come back almost 40 years later and have all these colleagues and friends. And I'm still learning every time I come. And when I go other places in the world, these colleagues open their water home to me. And I'm really happy to be here this year.
I feel privileged, first of all, and it's something that I've been looking forward to ever since the invitation came. Learning new technologies is very exciting. I am a professor of engineering, and I like to learn more, and therefore my being here is multidimensional.
Special things is having the world come to our city, a city that is extremely diverse. We've got people from all over the world that have made Toronto home, and they've helped us build this city. So I think what's special is having people come from other countries to see how we together have built a wonderful city here on the North Shore of Lake Ontario.
So I think the efforts that are made to attract women and to attract people from diverse backgrounds into the sector are critical. Otherwise, we'll end up with just the same thinking, the same ideas, rather than a much more diverse and rich set of ideas.
I'm from Cameroon, the Cameroon Trinity. So I'm very happy to be here. It's my first time to attend the international. So I'm very much happy to be here, and I'm looking forward to interacting with women because I'm working on gender issues with women, and also we have just joined IWA as a governing member, so I represent my senior director. So for me, it's a new experience, very enriching one.
For me, this conference will be special though. It's my last as the IWA president, and so I'm hoping it's going to be spectacular. In fact, I know it's going to be spectacular.
So I hope you have enjoyed a small glimpse of one of our leading events. That's IWA Water Congress that was organized in Toronto 2024. And I want to give you a little bit of some pictures and a glimpse of the participation from Bangladesh. So we have seen substantial amount of participation from IWA Bangladesh, and last year in 2024, there was around like 50 plus participation from Bangladesh in Toronto for this congress. And in last year in Thailand 2025 December, there was more than I guess 60 people who were representing Bangladesh in this water arena. So these are some of the pictures where you can see different professionals from the NGO field, from academia, from industry, from startups who are representing their own area of expertise in this IWA Congress and events. So you all can get an idea how important and impactful these events are in terms of expanding your network and just developing your knowledge base about new research and innovations in water field. So, with great pleasure and pride, here I am representing the founding committee of IWA YWP chapter of Bangladesh. And me, as the chair of this committee, I have Tauhid and Rafa as my co chair, and Mubashir with the secretary, Asif as the treasurer, Mo as our event and outreach director, Faisal as our publishing director, Jibon as well, giving a hand on the publishing director side, and Tanvir as our communication director, Rudro as our partnership director, Anika as our international collaboration director, Sakib as our social media director, and finally Mehdi as our membership director. So I'm really, really happy and proud to chair this incredible, enthusiastic, and you know impactful youth who are there to just create their marks in the water leadership and want to progress this IWYWP chapter. So thank you so much everyone for your contribution in this team. And just talking about one or two of our missions and our upcoming events, and then I'll conclude. So as I have already mentioned, our main target is to promote the young water professionals of Bangladesh and connect them with the IWA global network of 140 countries. We want to create impact by capacity building, by introducing and organizing workshops, seminars, and mentorship programs for these young water professionals, and to contribute towards the UN SDG Goal 6. So that's kind of our main mission and vision from this YWP Bangladesh chapter. And some of our upcoming events we are going to organize, like one of these research webinars. We will be organizing this sort of research webinars frequently, that will focus from global to local context in the water fields, and also will promote some of the young professionals projects and their success stories as well. So we'll invite different guests to just to showcase their research and their thoughts, their experiences in these research webinars. And we will also conduct the technical workshop in order to train young water professionals in different water fields. And also we are going to organize the IWYWP conference that will be organized in Bangladesh to showcase and promote IWA and the young water professionals' work in this water sector, coming from NGO, academia, industry, different fields. So that's kind of our upcoming events. Please keep an eye on our Facebook and LinkedIn page in order to keep you updated with these events. So thank you so much, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the short presentation on IWA and the formation of our chapter.
Thank you, Shanti Apu, for that nice overview on International Water Association, Young Water Professionals. So now, without further delay, I would like to invite Professor Dr. AKM Saiful Islam, sir, to deliver his lecture. Sir, the floor is yours.
Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. And maybe some people from outside Bangladesh. It could be good morning for some of them. So I'm going to talk today about climate change impact on water resource sector in Bangladesh. But I will also touch about the global context and the regional context. So let me start my presentation here. I think I'll maximize the slide so that you can have a look better. Okay, so it's a clear, loud mode now. You can see and sorry. Yeah, Mo, you can see that presentation slide in the full screen. Hello. Oh, I think you are typing in chat. You cannot type in.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We can hear you,
Okay.
sir. Loud and clear, sir.
Okay.
And we can see
Okay.
the presentation slides as well.
Oh, okay. That's the query. Okay, so let me start again. So I'm very glad and honored to be talk with IWA event, particularly for the young water professionals of Bangladesh, and I think some of them register outside Bangladesh, who are also very much welcome because water doesn't maintain the administrative boundary. As you know, water sector, hydrology, precipitation, they actually sometimes it's a global impact on that. So it's a very good that we share and learn from each other. So I'm working in the Institute of Water and Flood Management, which is the Institute of or University of Engineering Technology. We call it BUET in Bangladesh University of Engineering Technology. And I also contributing in climate change report of IPCC sixth and seventh assessment report in working group one, also a special report on cities and climate change. Both two reports are ongoing, so which is another, I think, important assessment report by Intergovernment Panel on Climate Change that will come. Cities report will come in next year, and the working group one or two report is likely sometime in 2028 or 2029. They have going to be decided. So the outline is my presentation is mostly what is global warming. I think many of you know, but since it is young water professional, I just quickly touched on that because some people is still not very aware of what's actually happening in the world in terms of global warming and in terms of climate change. I know many of you are very much aware, and then the IPCC. What is this, and what is the assessment report is all about, and then the impact on water sector. I think these are common actually for many countries. I think not all of them here are, yeah, we experience in Bangladesh is dominating your region, but some of them and also additional some of them also dominating your region. And finally, I'll talk about the our national adaptation plan very briefly because this plan need a long actually time to actually discuss because there are many sectoral plans in this national water resource national adaptation plan. We call it NAP. So, but I'll quickly just go through the summary of the plan because we are not wanted to only talk about the hazard, risks, and vulnerability, but also we want to talk about how to adapt with them. And this is also important. And also then quickly go through the Paris Agreement to how what challenges and how we can make the world more resilient and limiting greenhouse gas emission, which is a major cause of global warming. So that's it, but more focus on water sector and from global to regional, what we are experiencing. So I'm going to next slide. So first couple of slides actually is on the global state in terms of the warming. In 2024 is the record hottest year when since we take the recording of the temperature. It was the warmest year, and you can see the tall towers in the left side, which means the anomaly from that means the temperature of that year is deducted from the temperature mean of 1980-50 to 1900 baseline. So it's already crossed 1.59 degrees centigrade of the particular year, and this is the record breaking temperature. And in July was the highest record breaking temperature is observed in the earth. This is mean of surface air temperature and also ocean temperature. And the right side you can see the ocean temperature also warming because 90% of the heat is absorbed by the ocean. The excess energy is absorbed in the ocean, and the not only the land, we also see the ocean. Some of the days it's marine heat wave when the temperature exceeding certain threshold. It is say 90 percentile of temperature for 5 consecutive days. This is one way to measure the marine heat wave. So that means, in a simple word, land is warming, and also ocean is absorbing heat, so ocean is warm. So next slide. Then what is the reason? If I go that what we are before going to the reason, we are seeing what we have seen in Bangladesh or in the South Asia or the Southeast Asia in 2024. Fortunately, it was not that bad in 2025, but this year maybe El Nino is going to be occur after August. The signal is very strong. It could be very strong El Nino. Maybe 2027 would be very strong warming year. We don't know, even it could be 2026 with a strong, because our major heat wave is occur April and May. So this is the map of 29 April of the last year. So far, it's not prolonged heat wave days, but the 2024, we have seen about a month of the heat wave situation when the temperature exceeding our regional heat wave measures is when it exceed 36 degrees centigrade. So, and in certain time or day, it exceed about 42.8 degrees centigrade. So, in the left figure, you can see the heat wave map. Not everywhere is the same. Our western part is more warm, and then the eastern part, because the moisture and precipitation come from the ocean to directly on their side, and the eastern side and the northern side we have mountains, and so the more flash flood occurs. So orographic rain is occur. So western side is more dry region, and then the middle figure you can see also the Indian side of many state of India is more warm even than Bangladesh. So it was in the third figure you can see the Thailand, Bangladesh, Laos, Vietnam, Myanmar, Nepal, China, Singapore, many countries and many cities experienced record-breaking heat in 2024. And then why it is happened? The question is the 2024 was La Nina year, and January also in the La Nina year. So it was, you see, the usually the La Nina year is less warm than El Nino year. I think some of you know that it's a phenomena in the Pacific that we call ENSO, El Nino Southern Oscillation. It depends on the trade wind and the thermocline, the way it shifts, and the location and the ocean temperature. So depending on that, it year could be normal, year could be La Nina year could be El Nino year. El Nino year usually we experience dry and hot, and our temperature is higher. But on the other hand, La Nina year, you can see the blue dot. That means the La Nina year should be lower. But the 2025, we can see the last vertical line, the even La Nina year, the temperature is higher than the previous El Nino year. So why it has happened? Because it's not about the Pacific oscillation, ENSO, or any other reason. It's because of the constant increase. I mean incremental, not even constant increase of the Earth's temperature that we call global warming. And this warming actually also bring other extreme events more frequent, more intense, and more sometimes prolonged. In 2024, Bangladesh experienced record-breaking flood in Kumilla and Feni in the eastern side. On the other hand, Spain, Valencia, Thailand, Chiang Mai, and many Asian countries experienced flooding, landslides, flash flood, and this is the left figure in Bangladesh and right figure in the Chiang Mai city. So these are the situation. We have seen record-breaking flood in 2022 in Pakistan, and also we see recent times flooding in Middle East, Dubai and Saudi Arabia, where there was not much I think record of this kind of event. So the widest spread of the disaster and the record-breaking event and also prolonged and intense event is observed. In 2022, we have another devastating flood in the northeast region, Sylhet region, which is The Cherrapunji, the highest rainfall station, currently the Maishunram, and the northeast Meghalaya basin has huge precipitation. One single day precipitation in Cherrapunji was 972 millimeter, about a meter, and the Maishunram is highest 1 meter, 1003 millimeter one single day, and 2 days, 3 days precipitation was 2.5 meter, 2,500 millimeter. So you can imagine that this amount of precipitation cannot be drained by the natural canal, and also it is contributed by urbanization, loss of greenland, loss of blue area, water bodies, and so on. So, but apart from that, natural extremes also become very, very strong, and huge precipitation all on a sudden. So, another disaster, natural hazards, we call it storm, cyclonic storms, which is occur Bay of Bengal in our southern part of the country. You can see in 2024 we have a strong cyclone Remal, which caused 84 fatalities and sorry, excuse me, 600 million damage occurred. So this kind of event we are seeing that occurring. Excuse me. Sorry, not this one. Yeah. Sorry. So this kind of situation in Bangladesh, the storms and cyclonic storms now become more and more frequent. One single storm caused 600 million US dollar damage. It occurs in the Sundarban Delta region, West Bengal, and Bangladesh suffer from that. So if we have a look at the how cyclone and storm surge actually change with time, we can see the in the lower right, the Vola cyclone, which is very, I think, most catastrophic cyclone in the world. 500,000 people died in a single unofficial record. And because at that time there was not much record keeping, but it's around like that. And then there was a 1991 cyclone where 138,000 people died. Then Cyclone Cedar, and then Cyclone Ayla in 2007 and 2009. And then every year now, after 2016, we have seen category 2, 3, or 4. The Amphan, maybe some of the participants from India also can recall the 2020 or super cyclone. It's a wind speed 1 minute is 260 kilometer per hour. So these kind of cyclone become now, I think, frequent, particularly strong cyclones, and which cause huge damage to the coastal area, water resource sector, agriculture, and infrastructure, and also ecosystem, and other also impacted health and drinking water system, and so many things. And it was actually put a lot of pressure to the economy. So, but the fatality, you can see the top cyclone, top, I think, row, the fatality is reduced because the government has cyclone preparedness program, coastal embankment, we call it polder, and also cyclone shelter. But the damage is growing actually because huge economic activity, huge population growth, and so on. So it's difficult. So every cyclone is causing lots of damage to the economy and put pressure. So this is a global scenario. It's not only Bangladesh and others. If you have a look at the quickly, the World Meteorological Organization WMO 2025 report, you can see that um, 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 it's many indicator like glacier mass balance, sea ice extent, sea level rise. It's a actually unprecedented from the previous decade to this decade. Like water level are about glacier 1.3 meter equivalent depth of ice is lost. and the sea extent is in March 2025 lowest annual maximum. So ocean is observed highest le- he- highest level of recording in 2024 and 2025 also showing its continue. So the different I think state of the atmosphere, ocean, land, showing that something is actually going on. We have not seen the this kind of event, this kind of I think conditions in the earth in before. So what is that make changes not coming to the normal? And because for this extreme it caused a lot of damages, and particularly water sector and ecosystem and biodiversity, also agriculture, health, energy, and so on. So so you can have a look of this detailed report. It's in the website. You can search WMO state of climate report. Now we are going to take a look at the what IPCC report says. So Intergovernment Panel Report of AR6 published in 2021, sixth assessment report, Working Group 1, which I was also contributed. You can see that left side show that warming last 100,000 years, it's the warmest record now. And since last 2000 years, it's unprecedented record warming. It's like around vertical if you have a large reconstruction data from paleoclimate. But on the right side is another figure that shows if we actually compare this temperature, why it's happened with the natural variability like the solar, volcanic activity, and Earth using Earth system models, we cannot capture this observed high temperature unless we put the greenhouse gas into the model. So it's attributed that is because of the human influence world is like this kind of temperature we are observing. And this is a slide that shows what is actually happening when the greenhouse gas, which is mostly water vapor, carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, and ozone, and also some CFC gases. But we are not worried about water vapor because it's a stay 3 to 7 days in the atmosphere, and it's like a natural. The rain comes down and so on. But on the other hand, carbon dioxide and methane, particularly carbon dioxide, stays in the atmosphere about 100 years. So if you continuously think like a room, if you continuously pumping the greenhouse gas, and the amount it come in the earth and the amount you enter pumping into the system is more if it's net amount come and amount go. If it is more you are entering to the system and the atmosphere, what will happen? And if it is stay 100 years, so that means the greenhouse gas concentration will be increase. What this gas do? It's like a greenhouse of the where we actually grow the vegetables. These gases actually trap the heat, excess heat, which is radiated from the earth from the night time. It actually absorbs. It also reflects the sunlight. It also absorbs warm. It is also substantially make the atmosphere warmer. It also radiate trap and also keep the earth warm. So you see the right side there, it cannot pass this greenhouse gas layer. It's the atmosphere, but due to the greenhouse gas, its a radiative property is active. It is not allow them to go upper atmosphere. So that means it become warm, and warm. So this is like a heat trap. So that's actually phenomena since 1990. Scientists who know they started publishing the report. An intergovernmental panel first published in 1992. IPCC first assessment report, then 2021, the working group on sixth assessment report. Now we are working on the seventh assessment report. And there is three different actually category of the report. One is the physical science, which see what is the state of the land, water, and ocean and cryosphere. The second, and also the projected condition in the future. The working group 2, which published in 2022, it's see the impact and the vulnerability. because not everywhere impact will be same, because it depends on the adaptive capacity and sensitivity and the adaptation, how we can adapt with this condition of the earth. And the third report, which is mitigation report, which is working group 3, it also published 2022. And then sometime IPCC published a special report like 1.5-degree global warming, what will happen if we cross it, ocean cryosphere condition, and also the change on land. So all 6 reports are summarized. It's called a synthesis report, synthesized actually, and that is in 2023 IPCC published. And this year also, maybe in 2029 or something, with that will be published the all 3 working group plus a special report on cities and climate change. And they have also interactive atlas where you can play with something, like if you wanted to see what will happen this week, you can do it by your own interactive way. They also have a fact sheet where 2-page summary, and every report has 3 version, which is technical report and full report and then technical report, which is summary, technical summary, and also summary for the policymakers, which is very brief report, around 30 pages for the policymaker. But still, it's not very, natural language. Still, it's a scientific assessment. Maybe IPCC is also thinking about how to make it more, common understanding, common way to present this plain version of the report. It has different languages, I think 6 or 7 language that UN supports, and also some region scientists are also translate by their own language, national focal point and others do that. But the most important thing is, if you have a very little time, you can have a look at the summary for the policymaker to get about the idea. And the IPCC is not doing any kind of research. That maybe some people thought that IPCC is doing research, but actually IPCC do the assessment, which means it has assess. It's not review, it's assess, because there is a direction of the evidence and the agreement. That means how many literature say it will going to happen, and also it is positively impact increasing or negatively or decreasing, or there's no changes. So that is assessment statement. And how much you are confident, like high confident, medium or low confidence, how much it is likely to happen if you are high confidence. So that means you put some your assertion based on the assessment. And these reports are very widely recognized. 195 countries, UNFCCC government also approved this report, and it is based on thousands of literature. And I remember working group 1 has assessed 14,000 literature on that report, and so many comments and so on. So, and many scientists from many, almost every region has a scientist, and every sub-region has many scientists, and so on. So, so this is one of the widely, I think, recognized report by the government, by the scientific community. So please read that. And also, science is not, it will stay in one place. It's a dynamic, and some of the topics are ongoing. The understanding increasing, model is increase its resolution, model increase its performance by new data, new methods, new, I think, different kind of physics equations, discoveries that actually come to the global model or global assessment. So I think that that's why the new actually understanding, when we are more clear, and then that every 5 to 7 years a cycle of IPCC report are published, so that they starting from say 2020 we are having a look of the after 2020 what is happening of the new literatures say. So left side you can see the figure that shows the carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, all are actually increasing. And the right side figure is very interesting, because many people wanted to say that what is happening if carbon dioxide or other greenhouse gas is increasing. Right side figure, so if it is increasing from pre-industrial period because of human activity, like different sector actually responsible, transport, power, and also different domestic use and industries, they use this their activity actually produce so much greenhouse gases. And if we are using non-renewable energy sources like coal, like oil, like gases, so those actually create byproduct it produces, or from the waste, or from other also transporting, handling, and that produces huge amount of carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide. The primarily carbon dioxide, methane are the main sources right now, and which is actually increasing with time. And if you see the graph, that model shows that if you are increasing the CO2 in the emission, cumulative CO2 will actually increasing the temperature. Almost near linear relationship. It's like if you increase, say, 200%, temperature will also linearly respond. So, for example, 3000 and 4000, the straight line is linear. So, 3000, it could be 1.6, and the 4000, it will be around 2.6, something like that. So that means there is no way to ignore and say, no, 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 greenhouse gas will increase, but it will decrease the temperature. There is no possibility. It's a physics. So what is we are going to see in the atmosphere over the last 2000 years, or the ocean? We have seen the highest carbon dioxide concentration of 2 million years, fastest rate of sea level rise, and in the Arctic, the sea ice is lowest in 1000 years, and the glacier is retreated, and it has the lowest in the mountain glacier is the lowest in 2000 years. So, and then this kind of warming and absorbing warming actually impacted the extreme. For example, in water cycle, what is happening? It evaporate more, it's warm the ocean more, it also dry the water sources because the evaporation is higher, so soil moisture is less, and impact, and then also the heat is absorbed, and the heat wave condition is increasing, and the atmospheric moisture holding capacity also increase. That means cloud become more dense and intense and taller and so on. So it becomes heavy precipitation, and the circulation pattern of ocean also change, and drought because the your evaporation is higher because of the higher warming. And similarly in the ocean, excessive uh, Antarctic ice sheet melting or thermal expansion become more. Ocean sea level is rising, and ocean absorb more water and become acidified because of the carbon dioxide absorption, and ocean lose oxygen. Other hand, dry and heat and also windy situation makes fire condition in the bushfire or the forest fire, and then it becomes more increasing fire event, and we see the unprecedented or record breaking fire event in the last decades. And even 2 years back we have seen in 2040, maybe in December, we see there was a huge bushfire in California, and many other reasons. So the fire weather condition is increasing. So IPCC found that the recent changes of climate are widespread, rapid, and intensified, unprecedented in thousands of years. These kind of things are not observed. We have seen, but now it's changed. What is the change? You can see the human. If you born in 1950, your temperature today is like 1.3 or something if you are 70 years old. But if you born today, I mean, here it shows today means 2020. When you are 70 years old in 2090, your temperature will depend on what is the choice today. If you are low emission, more or less green path, we are following 1.5 degree by the end of century path, very low or low 2 degree, we will be have not much warming. But if we are following very high emission as usually, and we are not following the path of green energy, we will be reach very high temperature, 4 and 5 degrees. Imagine that this is the going to be summer season, April and May, with additional 4 and 5 degree heat wave. That will bring lots of issues in your in different sector. In the energy sector, more cooling, and the health sector, people are exposed with this amount of heat, and also agriculture sector, because of droughtness, crop yield will be reduced, and then ocean become more warmer, and then more stronger cyclone will occur, and more precipitation, and more kind of urban flood, flash flood will be occur, this heat inside the ocean also impacted marine life and ecosystem. So the excessive warming, not only this will show that this is not even actually impacted the tipping point, irreversible point, when we are not able to come back the same state. So IPCC figured this one show the hottest day in a decade. In the more warming, you will have more warm, and the color of the figure are not same. Land is more warm, the ocean, and then the second row is on the soil moisture. Third is the precipitation by 1.5 degree, 2 degree, 3 degree, and 4 degree. In the above, we can see it's like a thermometer. When you are fever, the more warm means more fever, and then the world will experience more different kind of this. And even 1 degree difference, or half a degree, or even 1/10 of degree is a lot to the earth system and art processes. So, and it is impacted a lot, and particularly after 2 degree, there will be no coral in the world, because the coral will bleach permanently. The ice will be reduced. Even the ice-free Arctic can be possible. We'll show that in the next slides. So the hottest day, annual column of soil moisture, the wettest day of annually, that will, and then the distribution is not same. Very interestingly, you can see the wet region become wetter, dry region become drier, because they already have less precipitation, and the more evaporation they cannot balance. And on the other hand, wet region, because of monsoon become more stronger signal, it become more wetter. So the second figure, you see the color difference, is some of the deficit of the precipitation, some of the more precipitation. So this is the second and third figure, and soil moisture follow the same pattern of the almost same pattern of the precipitation. And there was a extreme how it happened, like 1.1, 1.5, 2, and 4 degree. You can see that with the increasing of the temperature, actually these extreme become more extreme. Like in a 4 degree world, that we don't want it to go. We want to reduce into and keep it by the end of the century 1.5 degree. According to Paris Agreement, the gesture is to limit global warming below uh, 2 degree, and try to actually limit 1.5 degree, because the vulnerable country like Bangladesh, like other India and others, Myanmar, South Asian country, they wanted to keep it low, because our exposure is high, our adaptive capacity is low, and we cannot face this amount of huge changes of the atmosphere, because it needs so much money. For example, sea level rise, you cannot leave the coastal area, you have to leave that place. So not everyone is that amount of money to build a big house or big, to protect from the cyclone. So that's a challenge, and they don't know even what they are going to do if they come to the town, because that's their livelihood in the village, in the coastal area. What they are going to do? They are not like you finish college degree and so on. So that is the reason we have to think about that how we can limit global warming, so that these vulnerable nations, I'll show a map of the vulnerability, can reduce their vulnerability and sustainable and resilient development. And then drought, precipitation, snow, and tropical cyclone. You can see the tropical cyclone become strong and stronger, and 30% chance of increasing of the intense category 3 to 5 cyclone. For snow, it's 25% reduce of the snow cover. Precipitation that happen in a decade will have 2.8 times occur. That means every 3 years we will have the same amount of precipitation that occur every 10 years. And if you have a look of the scene of the temperature, Arctic and ocean pH and relative sea level, every indicator say the more warming, SSP 8.5 or 7 will actually give you more unfavorable condition, more acidic, more sea ice loss in Arctic, and more sea level rise. And even right side figure, you see a dotted line, which is like high impact, low likelihood, or unknown likelihood. We don't know when it has happened because deep uncertainty. But because of the ice sheet instability, all on a sudden, Antarctic ice sheet can collapse and the sea level could be additional 1 meter rise. So this is a very scary situation. We don't want that. And this kind of situation could occur if we are following the high emission. The probability is more because of this excessive emission could lead to this kind of. Similarly, the top right corner, you can see the partially ice-free Arctic. That means Arctic could be ice-free with very high emission scenario like SSP 370, SSP 585. So we can avoid this situation if we are a sustainable scenarios. And even long-term consequences because the ocean, the circulation needs long time go to the deeper part of the ocean. So even 2,000 year or 10,000 year, this long-term sea level will continue to rise. And if we are able to reduce global warming 1.5 degree limit within 1.5 degree, by 2000 year it could be 3 meter. But if it cannot do that, if it is a 2 degree or 4 degree, it could be 6 meter or by 2000 year or 16 meter. And then you can ask, sir, what is happening if we are not living in 2000 year? But you are committing that long-term consequences unless you are not acting now. So these some of the process take long time to redistribution heat and depression. So that's why we can slow down some of the consequences we cannot avoid, but we can slow down. And if you take a look of the picture, this is also figure from a special report on ocean cryosphere. You can see there are different way ocean is impacting, like snow cover is reduced, and that cause a lot of glacier mass loss. It's a dry season flow is reduced, and also glacial lake outburst flood that could happen, and CO2 increase that absorb, temperature is absorbed, marine heat wave, and PS is increasing because carbon dioxide absorbed. That means become more acidic. Oxygen is depleting because of a stratification, and ice sheet is reduced, and permafrost, the ice below the ground is also melting. It's a thawing. So this kind of effect and that impact not only the physically but also ecosystem and marine life. So the all of them you see like very bad condition and it's continue to decreasing and degrading. And this is not the all IPCC produces around 35 I think layer. It's called 35 actually climatic impact driver. It could be most of them are hazards if it is uh, bring the negative impact, but if it is positive impact, some of them, so some of the cases, so that's why it's called climatic impact driver, which includes both negative and positive impact. So this impact driver, the on other hand is a hazard most of the cases, and they are like 31 35 30 for the land region and 5 for the coastal region. And that this assessment it could be also see if adding additional important climatic impact driver is need to be included, or so on. That will become in the next assessment. But more or less signal, many regions has very strong, high confidence signal that this will be positively changes. And these positive changes is not good. It's bring a lot of flood, lot of heat wave, and sometimes less cold wave, and frost and glacial list and so on. And coastal flood, erosion, marine wave acidity will increase. So full report in any form you can find special report. You can find summary for the policymaker or technical report. You can find detail, even regional details what's going to happen on the region. This is important. I mentioned that tipping point, irreversibility, or that means some of the state which never come back in the previous, like Atlantic meridian overturning circulation, cold and heat, hot water circulation pattern from north to south, that will collapse, and then it will impact the Europe and North American regions. And also, like you see, the coral is die off, and 2 degrees, some of them is already giving the signal, 9 of them reaching the tipping point, and for 2 to 4 and beyond 4, like East Atlantic or ice sheet collapse, and then we don't want it to cross this tipping point, and then that will impact your regions. So, and this is like a called burning umber, so which is how much sensitive to the system in terms of the how much risks is there, potential risks in terms of the warming. So, if it is unique threatened system or extreme order or the distribution of impact, global aggregated large scale singular event, you see the warming will bring this kind of a more risk in this, and the details are here. You can see the biodiversity and so on. So we can see it's like a thermometer. Some of them response are so strong with the warming and with even high confidence, like warming water corals, 3, 4 dots. That means it has a strong signal. Dots is like very high, so confidence level. So some of them scientists or scientific literature is not able to understand properly, so they have low confidence or less literature. So the but the in general trend is warming level will make them more vulnerable and more sensitive. And this is interesting figure. And in the globe, you see the impact is all over the world, but the vulnerability is not the same. Like the South Asia, like Southeast Asia, like the Africa, many regions are more vulnerable than the Western world, developed world, and so on, because of the many situations, like the more indigenous people, more adaptive capacity, less adaptive capacity, low income, and so on. So the maybe we are not the main cause of greenhouse gas emission. Many countries are not the main polluter, main emitter, but they are more vulnerable. So that is important, that its effect is globally, and some countries which are not responsible for so much greenhouse gas, but also become very vulnerable. Now I'm going to show a couple of slides, almost another 10 minutes on Bangladesh impact very quickly. But these are the similar pattern. So one report by Professor Selimullah, myself, and Mizan Khan sir, we have published in 2024 is a brief report of what we are expecting. I think there is time to update National Vulnerability Report or National Climate Risk Assessment Report. So we also, that report you can have a look at that. It's in the ICAD website. You can take a screenshot and have a look at it. I have shown some of the actually published paper of my research group. There are so many papers these days, it's difficult to summarize, but some of the signals we get from extreme climate indicator in terms of the maximum temperature, minimum temperature change. The left side figure, you see the red bar is like more warming, 4 degree, and the middle is 2 degree, and then 1.5 degree in the left, each of the month. We see the temperature 19%, 10 percentile, 90%, all have shown the increasing trend. And the right side is you see the distribution of the, not everywhere will see more and more change. For example, in the upper nighttime temperature, 10th percentile temperature, that distribution will define global warming. And the bottom row, you can see the maximum temperature, TX 90 percentile. And the distribution is the same. Coastal area will experience more maximum temperature by end of the century than the, sorry, by 4-degree global warming than the present condition. The changes will be higher in the coastal region. So similarly, we have seen the changes of the precipitation, like RX1, 1 day maximum precipitation, 5 day maximum precipitation, RX5 with the warming. Our northeast and southeast is more precipitation prone, but you see the global warming will bring more precipitation also in the middle of the city with 5 day maximum precipitation. RX5s will be higher with a very high warming, specific warming level 4. So, and then the bar, the size of the bar, you see this big, longer, taller, sorry, taller bars, you can see because of the warming makes more uncertainty. It could be very less, it could be positive, negative. So that is another issue. Uncertainty will be increased with the warming level. And the drought we measures using the meteorological indicators. Some of them, the standard precipitation, which is a standardized deviation of the precipitation from the mean, or deviation from precipitation and evapotranspiration, which is called SPEI. So we found that when we calculate the SPEI, it shows that in future we will have also drought-like condition. And the right side figure, you can see particularly winter precipitation and post-monsoon season, we have more dry condition in the western part, in the northwestern, in the central part, and so on. So it's a published paper. And similarly, when this is interesting, we have three big river basins. Bangladesh is the delta of Ganges, Brahmaputra, Meghna, and there many rivers comes, actually those are bifurcation or confluence of these rivers, and they are branch of these rivers. And these rivers bring huge amount of fresh water and sediment every year. And some of them actually come from India and also China, and then India, also Bhutan and Nepal and Myanmar also. Bangladesh has receiving 57 transboundary rivers, and 50 from India, and 3 from Myanmar. But like Brahmaputra Basin also a huge part in China, 18% is China, and 64% in India. But our overall transboundary river, our overall catchment area is 7%. So we are the receiver end of the huge amount of precipitation. Sometime in the monsoon we get flooded. In the dry season we have lack of water, and so on. So we do some modeling exercise, hydrological modeling, SWOT, and also DEL 3D hydrodynamic model. We also have a BICOM model we simulated with National Oceanography Center, UK. And there are also other people have their own modeling activities at our institute. But most of the model give the signal that in future the monsoon precipitation will increase, and the return period will increase. That means in the monsoon we are expecting 100-year flow will be higher in the future. So there are published papers, some of them are under review, and you can have a look of the references in my website. So, but the main signal I can tell you that the monsoon flow will be increasing. And we also found recently, each paper is about to accept, that is the dry season flow by next 20 years will be slightly increasing. By the end of the century, it will be decreasing, because huge amount of, I think, evaporation occur, and dry season flow has impact. And then you can see the changes of the discharge, and in the future we call it a rating curve. We call it return period frequency. and that will be in the future, particularly return period will be reduced because the bigger flood will come with lower return period. So particularly high flow conditions. So you can see the monsoon flood will be more. And in the southern part, Bay of Bengal region, Bangladesh also has shared Bay of Bengal with India and Myanmar, and we are similar issues. There are stations. This is report from ARC Center of Met Office, Headley Center, UK. You see the sea level is continuously rising with many stations, and some of the stations India and some of the Bangladesh, and the amount of warming will increase like RCP 8.5. The sea level will be higher in the future, and it is the range you can see zero point 0.4 to 0.86 in Cox's Bazar. But if you are moderate scenario, zero point 0.3 to 0.68. But if you are a sustainable scenario, 2.6 below 2 degree, we can have a half a meter by the end of the century. We already experienced a zero point 0.2 meter sea level rise. And we then also simulate some of the past storms, 16 storms, and we found that with storms with sea level, our hazard map will be changed. That means more inundation with some areas with more red color. And in the future, the baseline scenario and the zero point 0.7 meter sea level, by without changing the atmospheric condition, of course, we found that the hazard in the coastal map will be changed. Also, there recently paper from MIT. They shows that even the seasonal shifting, maybe cyclone season move to the monsoon season a little bit, and there will be more frequent this kind of storms are even. And then salinity, because the sea water brings lot of salinity. Salinity will be I am almost last part of my couple of slides left, so then you can ask questions and so on. So salinity front will be moved up in the particularly southwest part of the Bangladesh. And so we have seen the mean surface temperature is increased in the South Asia, and also similarly Bangladesh heat wave will increase, marine heat wave will increase, continue to increase actually. Fire weather season will lengthen and intensify. Precipitation river flow will increase, mean wind speed will increase, but the extreme wind, extreme cyclone will increase, and categories will be higher. And I mean, the high category cyclone will be proportion will be increased. Glacier will decline, and runoff in the Asian mountains will increase by mean century, and the decrease in the storage, relative sea level will increase. Another issue in Bangladesh is the subsidence. Because of the subsidence, 1 to 7 millimeter, we can see more relatively higher sea level. And then coastal area loss, shoreline retreat in many areas with a very high confidence, with the high confidence, and air pollution weather contribute to mostly residential sector, South Asia, industry and energy production in Southwest and East Asia. So air pollution is projected to increase. So these are the picture, and this is a glimpse of what I have said, that river flood, drought, salinity, and all our water sector hazards in the flash flood, urban flood, heat wave, landslide, and cyclone, and more intense, and so on. So, but it's not the same area. There is a regional change. Similar, India is a huge country. It has more variation. So every region is impacted by more severe, frequent, prolonged natural hazards. And then what is the hope? In COP 2015, the Paris Agreement, climate agreement, is signed, and it has important clause. Maybe many of you knows very well that limiting global warming by the another 2 degree, but effort should be to below, well below 2 degree. Effort should be limiting 1.5 degree. We have to determine the national target. It is called NDC. Bangladesh also determine, and also they have shows how much they will reduce by 2035. Every country has to, who signed the Paris Agreement, every 5 years they provide the updated their NDC. Now we have last year NDC 3, 2025. And then net zero emission by mid-century. If we wanted to meet this target, that means the amount of emission in the atmosphere amount of capture should be plus minus should be zero by the in middle of the century. And then the funding, because you already lots of greenhouse gas in the atmosphere. Already global warming is 1.4 degree now, and mean maybe 1.1 as per the last assessment report. And if you mean by 2025 data, it's 1.3 degree. So that already bring lot of extreme events, lot of I think changes of the atmosphere, and that we need adaptation to even further and from present condition. So the funding needed, and some country which did not emit much in the past, but now emitting, like India, like China, like Brazil, like Indonesia, they want fund for limiting their greenhouse gas. Bangladesh also say they will limit by 6.4% by 2035 if they get some funding on that. And additional support, they can even go for the more. So that is the aspiration that countries will develop country which has a lot of historic responsibility will provide more funding by different way, like donation, like grant, like collaboration, like support, so that 100 billion per year. That was the Paris Agreement, but last COP it was like up to 2035, 300 billion, because it's increasing with time the price. And there is another fund that has developed loss and damage, because suddenly country feel huge amount of damages, and it creates permanent losses. So there is a small fund rather than I think 1,000 million, 1 billion actually, that is promised for the country which get losses and damage with natural disaster. But modality how to pay and all this is yet to actually negotiation and so on. There is a way to determine how much you lost and so on. Uh, and there are even very, very bad news all over the world. Now we have seen many, many problems, but there are also some good news. If you see the right side graph, the left side, we say the 57.7 gigaton of carbon dioxide right now. But if you consider, if we are not doing this in before, when we have this Paris Agreement, we could have more 48% more warming than today by 2035. So the Paris Agreement bring it to 20%, but we still need the more promises, like NDC submitted in 2025 November 9th, say additional 12% will be reduced. So that is the target, and these are the negotiation going on every year. But global emission reduction, the green technology, the less emission, alternative energy, and so on, is very much essential for the earth to be sustainable. And particularly developing and small island countries, they are suffering more. And our national adaptation plan, so you can have a look at that. This is the national document by the Ministry of Environment, Forestry and Climate Change 2023 to 2050. And they have 8 sector: water resource, disaster, agriculture, fisheries, urban ecosystem policy, and capacity building, development, research, innovation. It estimates around 230 billion US dollar is needed for this, and many programs with water resource, disaster, and so on. And the amount of money is needed. You see, water resource needed about 1,000 billion taka, not US dollar. So, so they have a more and some sector like agriculture, where agriculture needs more money. Even like fisheries, also huge amount of money we need. And disaster, we are disaster vulnerable, as I mentioned, and so on. That's it. I take a little bit longer, but we still have 5-10 minutes to discuss. If you have a question and comment, so I go there to actually stop the presentation.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your insightful and thought-provoking presentation. It was truly enriching for all of us, I think. And I think through today's webinar, our audience gained a clear understanding of how greenhouse gas emissions, particularly from anthropogenic activities, are contributing to rising global temperatures, and then with far-reaching impacts on food production, human health, ecosystem, and also water security. You also highlighted how climate variability is intensifying hydrological extremes, including flash floods, monsoon floods, cyclones, storm surge, droughts, and how all these are going to pose significant challenges for vulnerable regions like our coastal region of Bangladesh. So overall, this emphasizes the need for our collective effort, actually, how immediately we are going to take some measures or actions to reduce emissions, and how we are going to uh, get adapted to sustainable living practices, actually. Now we will move to our question and answer segment. I can see some interesting questions from our audience here. The first question is from Shams Mohammed Shimul. He asked, what do you think will be the biggest water challenge for Bangladesh in the future?
Thank you, Mr. Shams, for your question. It's a for me there are many challenges. For example, the dry season we are lack of fresh water, and that impacted the agriculture and food security. In the monsoon season, we get huge amount of flooding, and that catastrophe actually impacted. And then we also see the flash flood condition impacted Bangladesh. Groundwater is declining, and in climate change, we will have more declining of groundwater because of the more evaporation. But the coastal area is more suffering. Actually, is the high. I think the I think most vulnerable region is the coastal region where salinity is coming, sea level is rising, storms become, I think, increasing, and the water, drinking water is scarce. If you visit there, we have many visits, and Mo and other colleagues, we have seen that there is a huge issues of the salinity and scarcity of drinking water. Even the capital city, the Dhaka and the Chittagong urban area, urban population is increasing. Due to urbanization, the less amount of water can go into the soil. So heat wave condition increasing, and the groundwater recharge is less, and the groundwater is severely declining, and then all on a sudden we experience the urban flood. So Bangladesh has many different water sector challenges. It's very difficult to say which one is the important than others, because there are regional disparities, regional variations. So, but these are the primary challenge: flood, cyclone, and water scarcity, and then distribution, even fresh waters, and so on. Yeah. Sorry, I cannot hear more. Hello.
I'm
Hello.
sorry, I was muted. Yeah, sir, I was muted. So thank you, sir. Our next question is from Tasin Talukdar. He asked, how can early career researchers in developing countries contribute effectively to climate and flood risk modeling when they often face limited access to high resolution data and computational resources, and what practical skills should we prioritize to stay relevant in this field?
Okay, thank you. Very nice question, Tasin. Um, yeah, one is you mentioned actually several things. One is the data limitation. Of course, every country has some limitation, particularly developing country, and the transboundary data sharing also big issue. But recent time, people are using some reanalysis data like global data sets, like Mo and others at BUET. They use SWOT modeling and hydrology modeling, use the uh, reanalysis and global grid based data, era data, and other data Global data set and also increasing satellite resolution give you big data sets. So that is could be a proxy to the observed ground-based data. And sometimes for long-term pattern recognition, long-term change, these are more or less okay. But if you wanted to a design problem like what is the flooding of a particular area, you need a very good observed data set. Secondly, the question about the modeling. This again, the last decade or 2 decades, you have seen growing number of open source software and tools. In the past, you remember that we use only ArcGIS and very limited number of ADAS, remote sensing and GSF. Now you have QGIS and OpenStreetMaps and Google Earth Engine and so on. So these are also open source platform software tools, Python and so on are increasing. It's so that's the positive side. On the other hand, capacity building training also, I would say that you can take your academic degree. Say our institute, we are teaching at BUET actually in general, different department, civil engineering, water resource institute also. They are teaching water model, and we also offer short course professional training for the professionals where they can also take intensive training for a week and so for the modeling or different and then you can also take international courses. I saw every week comes something like from different modeling institute offer. Some of them are free actually, and then you can also learn from digital platform like YouTube. There are very good sites. Even our one water resource professional, he actually created a, I think for the Hekras, he created a YouTube channel for how to do all this modeling exercise. And this is very much encouraging. So these days, people can learn, share, and exchange knowledge. So I hope this your enthusiasm will be, I think, more satisfied if you search digital platform. Thank you.
Okay, sir. So the next question is from organization Tetra. They asked, what role can private sector play in reducing the impact of climate change in Bangladesh?
Thank you.
The role of
Role of private sector is also very important. For example, government sector has serious limitations because the how many government universities, government employees in the country, while how many private sector employees, NGOs, and other. You can see, so private sector has a huge actually role in the different. Like we in BUET, we can teach something, but we are not going to the Shatkira or Cox Bazar and so on to transfer this knowledge. So but we see so many NGOs and private sector occur in the coastal area. They actually developed the drinking water facility, providing the drinking waters to the people, and so on. Different sector they actually microcredit and others. So private sector has huge role, but if you get maximum benefit, it is better to work with the government, with the national institute or the good research institute, like a collaboration. That would be better. Maybe you can benefit from both sides. But I think again there is actually a huge role in private sector than the government sector, and I think because of the vastness of the problem, because of the geography and so on. So and the another problem is we don't see much collaboration. Like Western world, we see the private public partnership more, university, academia, private sector, and more. But unfortunately, our country we see less, with many different reasons. But that should be improved because if you like today, someone asked me, there's an interesting problem in our area. In the past, they have submersible embankment to protect. This year they also created to from the flash flood, but this year there are all of a sudden huge precipitation, and that actually the water is not drained from the submersible. There is no provision for that. Many submersible embankment. So and then the loss not from the flash flood but from the so the design of this embankment how can be cost reduced how can be user friendly, those things. And then if you design, who will implement that, who will bring that to the field? That's the private sector. So the role is there. And similarly, other day I go to local government engineering division. We found there is a very new road construction method, uniblock. Instead of the pavement road, this uniblock road is almost similar cost, but durability is much high, more than 25 years, while the bituminous road is 10 years, and it's very vulnerable. So this kind of block you can create, and you can put in, and you can make the road better, and you can supply to the government organization. So in even many sectors, nature-based solutions, even plastic removal, we see the plastic pollution is high. What is the alternative of the plastic? So we can replace. Private sector come up with this kind of nice solution. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. The next question is from Wakil Ahmed. He asked, what is the impact of light pollution on climate change potential, and has it been addressed in any of the reports?
Yes, light pollution. Oh, yeah. I did not touch much on the pollution because we are actually more focused on the climate change. Of course, pollution and solid waste management. Particularly, we are living in a very polluted city which is surrounded by polluted rivers like Buriganga, Turak, Tongi, and also air pollution. So that could be maybe another time we'll discuss on that. Today, unfortunately, we did not mention much on the
Yes.
pollutions. Yeah.
Yes. And then there's another interesting question. If nothing changes, the question is from Tanvir Ahmed. So he asked, if nothing changes, how do you see the water situation in Bangladesh in the next 20 years?
If nothing changes, that's a very bad condition we are going to expect. We have already shown that what is we are going to expect, just only considering the climate change. We did not consider much on the urbanization impact, or also the changes of the agricultural land, or changes of the pollutions and so on. So that is not a good future. So that's why our national adaptation plan shows so many policy and plans that needs to be implemented by 2050. I hope government will take this policy plan report and very seriously, and then implement them. And but they will also need some funding. That also government looking forward to become the country more resilient.
Okay, sir. So there are two correlated questions, I think. The first question is from Soyod Ibtisam Ahmed Nezad. He asked how the civil engineers should adapt the design of water infrastructure to account for increasing climate variability and extreme events. So what should the civil engineers do? And another question is from engineer M.M. Mannan. He asked, as many areas of Bangladesh are facing water scarcity, how can we overcome this crisis through sustainable solutions?
I think first one is very actually very interesting and very essential for civil engineers to know, because the all the government sector, particularly in Bangladesh, local government engineering department or water development board, or roads and highways that we know, and also municipality, we have worked, and they are now developing all the infrastructure climate resilient. We have already provided through some of the projects our expertise service or research, and there is other organization, they are also actually taking giving the services now, like urban drainage system considered the changes projected precipitation, and then the design already reflect the road height, elevation, and all this become now climate resilient. So these changes must be incorporated in the design. And even the big breeze culvert, and they are also consideration changes of the flow in the rivers. So, and then they also now recent days they also now looking forward the nature-based solution. We did a recent project. Mo was there with the as a investigator, that was in Global Center of Adaptation Nature-based Solutions for the Coastal Climate Resilience. So we wanted to use more nature-friendly, nature-based solutions so that the ecosystem sustainability will be better. So please, engineer, consider this when you design. Like some of the very, I will not say maladaptation, but very bad way design, like killing the natural water canal or natural water body and replace with the pipe drain and so on. So that's not good for the ecosystem and others. Not only solution should be not only for the human or development, but also think about the ecosystem services and ecosystem as a whole. Yeah, what are the next question? Sorry, I missed the second question.
Sir, the next question is by Engineer M. Mannan. He asked, as many areas of Bangladesh are facing water scarcity, how can we
Yeah.
overcome this crisis through sustainable solutions?
Thank you, Mr. Mannan. Actually, different area has different kind of issues. Like coastal area, salinity is the issues. We see the rainwater harvesting is very good in the village level. We see the Poroshaba is trying to, I think, making more plant with purifying plant and so on. So and the public sector also, private sector also engaged in this selling water and try to make this resilient, and also more use of the rainwater conservation and agriculture practice and so on is needed. On the other hand, Borend area, others also suffer from lack of precipitation and the groundwater declining in major cities and Barend area. So many reasons, water scarcity, Chor area also, even our hilly mountains area. It's a big problem for the country, and more adaptation measures, public, private sector, government, and the community needs to be the solution. People knows, but the affordability of the solution, accessibility and availability to the people is also challenge, and that needs planning. Which phase we are going to do by next 5 years, what could be next 15 years, and so on. Yeah, I hope I
Yes.
try to answer some of his question. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. And the next question is by Agro Chaudhuri. Agro Chaudhuri. He asked, some sources say that there are found quite high percentage of plastic elements and other toxic element in fresh water which are supplied by WASA. What's your opinion on this?
Um, I don't know exactly because they say their drinking water up to the household level is 100% pure. They often take the sample, and if it is Dhaka Vasa, I know I once contacted with them because I found like some issues of the water. So I was curious to know what is it because of the Vasa water, or but they, if you call them, they will collect the sample and test it and to see if it is a problem. For they are little bit serious. Last time I know that they are serious. If you complain them and tell, and they will collect and check that. But of course, no one can guarantee. It's a huge 18 million people, right, in Dhaka city, and water supply is a challenge. Some area pipe system is not good, and some area is very old pipe, and so we use water filter at home in any way at BUET also. But it would be nice if we can make good progress, and also from the surface water, not dependent on the groundwater, and also the reuse. That's the another part we seriously neglect. Rainwater not used. It can be used for the toilet flush. It can be used for the car wash.
Garden.
So rainwater harvesting is very much essential for the country, for the big cities. So that is, and then groundwater is declining with serious levels. So these kind of things, water efficiency also not much, and we are not serious. Sometimes we open the water for the whole night because the charges is minimum. So recently they changed the water meter, and illegal connections. Everything actually put pressure on the water resource and their efficiency and so on. And sometimes we are not very good at planning. That also thinking like the I think the Podda water treatment plant is very good, but they don't have much capacity in the connection line to bring it here. So these kind of things they have to improve. The authority needs some I think work, and at the public level, not wastewater. That also important. Conservation of water, even your the personal level is also important.
Thank you, sir. The next question is by Mubashir Tahmid. He asked, we are seeing more frequent floods in Bangladesh these days, and are these mainly due to climate change or there are other factors involved?
Actually, both. When you talk about only precipitation, then of course climate change has some impact, and that is going to be more and more intense precipitation. But the flooding is not all about the precipitation. It also impact of the land use change. For example, if you lost your the green area or the blue area, then and the more urbanization, then all become more direct runoff. So it's a combination of you how you manage your city or the your peri-urban or rural area, and then also climate change is impacted. I think it is a both combined effort.
Yes, sir. And the next question is from Papia Bishas Toma. She asked, how can policymakers better balance the intense water demands of agriculture with community drinking needs?
That's a question because some area it's a really difficult to. I still remember some area in the coastal where there is a two different kind of water users. One wanted to do the shrimp farming, which use salt water. Another wanted to do the agriculture and also freshwater fish. And then the people who want more saline water to come, some want the embankment sluice gate should be closed. So there is a conflicting and interest. So water management group, and that's a challenge for some area. But um, yeah, I think that's not easy to answer. And then again, you put another question that how drinking water and the agriculture needs. And often the agriculture land has a huge people with more power, and because they have bigger land, and but the drinking waters used for the people who is not that powerful, maybe the small household in village and something. So that's a challenge, but it must be ensured that drinking water is the priority, like it's a human right. So that should be ensured, and that needs to be resolved through dialogue, through the water management committee, and also the policy planning. Like some policy, you'll find that you cannot withdraw so much water, groundwater, so that drinking water hand tube become obsolete and ecosystem become unsustainable and so on. So there is I think a combined I think combined action is needed from the government side, from the public side, and implement the policy and so on. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. The next question is from Mashrur Hassan. He asked, how are artificial intelligence and big data being used to predict or manage water scarcity?
That's a very good question. I like that because we are seeing artificial intelligence is growing like hell. Anything can be possible nowadays. Like you can have my voice with your voice and so on. So
Yeah.
we don't
Yes,
know
sir.
what is going on and where it will be. So I'm just joking to make it that it's a beyond imagination. And but one thing I would say that. If it is a not humanly checked just, and then it is also dangerous. You have to be also verify the information that you get. And there are many application in artificial intelligence, particularly modeling the predictability, because it can get non-linear pattern very well. And even nowadays some artificial intelligence deep learning models give a better result than physical based numerical models. So there is a huge application of artificial intelligence and data preparation, gap filling, and so on. So it will be increase and increase, particularly remote sensing technology, reconstruction, modeling, and hope you a new generation young generation scientist, you are more use the AI than us, and hopefully it will be bring the positive. But again, remember that you have to be use it carefully, and you always check the results that it's correct or not. Don't use it blindly.
We are almost at the end of our session today, sir. So we are going to take the last question. That is also from Tasin Talukdar. He asked, what are the biggest research gaps in climate change impacts on water resources that young researchers should focus on right now?
Biggest research gap, I think, in a country like Bangladesh, I think many sector we don't have proper assessment. Like um, observed data is a challenge, of course, but the research, if you consider the research, like funding is the issue for young researcher, and then dedication time. Often people just read, like we talked about the artificial intelligence, they just grab some information here or there, write a report. But the dedication to analyze the data, to apply the data, collect the data is very important. So I would suggest that our country, we need actually more research on the different sectors, different actually reasons, like with data driven research, not like policy driven or others. I think we found often like lack of data. Even government level, we don't know. For example, we have a coastal polder. We don't know what is the exact height now, or which area are more vulnerable, what is the condition. So lack of survey. Even the river bathymetry changes every year. So young people should analyze these changes, like salinity changes, water quality changes, and also analyze the changes of the huge amount of remote sensing you can apply to see the land cover changes, and even pollution you can apply. So I would suggest that you take a one problem and apply in your research with some data, not like most of them wanted like I mean secondary data, but you try to use your own way to find a good solutions. And then finally, don't do work at your desk. You should also go to the field, talk to the people, and learn from them. Actually, they are living there, they have better knowledge than us. We often learn a lot when you go to the field. So I would suggest that you do good kind of research with academic, and also last thing I would say that you should read some papers on that, particularly peer reviewed journal paper. Google Scholar and other, you can search, you can see what is the latest state of the knowledge on that. For climate change, actually many field we are not that much publication. If you search, you'll say one or two paper on that. So you can pick any one of them. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, for taking the time and explaining all the questions and addressing everything. Thank you so much, sir.
I tried. Thank you,
So
guys.
I think
Okay.
Thank you
yeah,
so much, sir.
yeah.
We had a like great number of registration for this webinar. 150 people plus
Good.
actually registered for your webinar, so it was a great success. And we have
Oh,
got
thank
like a lot of questions still now, but
you.
unfortunately due to the time, we cannot actually take this much of questions. But yeah, we would like to request to the I think the audience. If you have any other questions, we have our email and you have our page link, so you can directly inbox us. We can send those questions to Saiful sir. And I have seen that there is another request about like the slides or the informations that
uh,
sir has shared. So if sir is
yeah.
agreeing with this request, we can actually provide that to you as well.
Yeah,
So
I'll share that. No problem. Yeah.
okay, thank you
Right.
so much, sir.
Thank
And
you.
thank you, everyone. And on behalf of IWA Bangladesh, thank you so much, sir, for supporting us with your time and
Thank you.
effort. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, bye. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. I would like to, sir already left. So I would actually like to thank our organizing team and partners, as well as all the participants for joining this session today and making it a success. We hope this webinar has provided meaningful insights into the impacts of climate change and water resources in Bangladesh. So we got to learn something. It was a very interactive session today. And please stay connected with IWA Young Water Professionals Bangladesh chapter for more such events in the future. With that, we conclude today's session. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful evening.